Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today we're going to be taking a look at how Arms Warriors are playing in Legion. Now one thing I do want to say right now is that this is on alpha, and so obviously a lot of things are going to change between now and release, and with that guys, if there's something you see in this video you don't like the way it plays, you want to give Blizzard feedback on the spec, now is the best time, so maybe they can, do what you want them to do, or at least take your feedback into consideration before the game actually comes out, because the chances of that happening then are at least much lower. Okay, and so one thing I do want to say right now is that I'm doing all this live, okay? And so hopefully there won't be too many mistakes, and hopefully it won't go on too long, because Arms is my favorite spec in the entire game, so I could get a little too into it, alright? So I'll tell you guys what we're going to be going over. There's going to be a number of things. So we're going to be looking at all the new spells and abilities that were added with Legion, as well as some things that were taken away. Also, we're going to be looking at the talents, and this is very important for the Arms Warriors specifically, is that we're going to be looking at how our artifact weapon, the traits in the artifact weapon, are going to be changing our rotation and potentially also changing how we use our talent points, because I think like really for all the classes that I played, the artifact weapon for Arms Warriors modifies your gameplay more than any of the other ones. So that's something I definitely want to go over with you guys as well, and depending on what else happens, I might just show you guys some gameplay at the same time, and just like some rotational stuff. So first thing, as you guys can see, here's my warrior, and obviously, and so let's go ahead and look at the new spells and abilities. Now, I think that these are the core abilities, so let's just go ahead and look at the core abilities so we can get a basic understanding for the spec. This is Mortal Strike. We've had this for a very long time, and we still have it. It's basically our our main ability that we use. It's our highest damage ability outside of Execute, so obviously you want to use this as much as you can. Colossus Smash has been redesigned. It no longer makes you ignore armor. It instead increases the damage you deal to your target by 112%. Your Mastery increases the damage that you deal to your targets that have increased the damage of Colossus Smash, and causes it to increase the damage that you deal to the target by additional 92%. So basically, I guess it must, so if it's 112, so it's 20% baseline, and then obviously you've got the 92% on top of that. So pretty much the way that this works is that you want to make sure that you have all of your big damage lined up for whenever you have a Colossus Smash up, because regardless of like you're fighting like a Clothy or like whatever it is, Colossus Smash is going to make you do, in this instance here, 112% more damage to them for 6 seconds. Also, you can see right here it has a 45-second cooldown, and the reason for that, guys, is that you have Tactician now, and basically you have to rely on, and I know that you guys pretty much already know what I'm going to say here, is that you have to rely on RNG in order to reset your Colossus Smash, and I really don't like that. I'm not really sure. I think that, like, as I said before, the artifact weapon is going to kind of smooth a lot of that stuff out, but at the same time, I'm just waiting to see how it's going to look with all the talents in the weapon, and then I can really make that decision. Anyway, so Tactician is like your main passive ability, and so your Slam, Whirlwind, and Execute have a 20% chance per target hit to reset the cooldown on Colossus Smash. Now, right now, Whirlwind is your highest damage single target ability. It's better than Slam, but we are just going to be using Slam just because obviously that's not how it's going to stay, right? And then also you have Slam. Slam is basically your filler ability. It costs 15 rage and it just deals damage. The main reason you really want to use Slam is to proc Tactician. Also, you have Execute. It does basically the same thing as it does now for Arms Warriors. Whirlwind does basically the same thing as it does now. Now let's go ahead and look at all of our abilities. Now we have Battle Cry. Battle Cry is Recklessness. Very simple. It basically lasts for 5 seconds and makes all of your special attacks like Mortal Strike, Colossus Smash, all that. It gives them a 100% chance to crit for 5 seconds. Pretty simple. Commanding Shout is Rallying Cry. They renamed it for no reason, and so there you go. Berserker Rage is pretty much useless for Arms Warriors right now. It's pretty much just a PvP talent, so you don't really need to worry about that whatsoever. Defensive Stance is bugged out right now, and it actually increases the damage you do instead of reduces it. So you can see right now it's a top end 940, right, and or 9400. I've been waiting for this. Defensive Stance actually make you do more damage, Because, I mean, like, if you want to be really defensive, you kill your target. That way they don't do anything to you. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of them. Blade Storm works the same way as it does now, and it is also a talent, and so we'll look at that in a minute. Execute, we already looked at that. Charge obviously does what it does. Hamstring obviously does what it does. Nothing new really there. Cleave. Cleave is really fucked up right now, guys. Cleave, basically, you want to cleave a target range. I think it should be working kind of the same way that Shockwave does as a cone, but just like I think like the programming for the way that it hits different targets isn't really entirely into place. But basically, every single time that you hit a target with cleave, like if you cleave and you have 3 targets, you hit 3 targets. Your whirlwind is going to do 60% more damage. For each target you hit, it does 20% more damage. Pretty simple. I hope that they make it kind of work more like Overpower for Barbarians in Diablo 3. I think that would be a lot better. Anyway, so we'll look at Cleave as well. Heroic Leap functions the same way as it does. Colossus Smash we already looked at. Heroic Throw does what it does. Mortal Strike, we looked at that. Victory Rush, basically, I don't even have that on my bar. Oh, yeah, I do. Anyway, Victory Rush does the same thing it does now. There is a talent that may allow you to use Victory Rush more often, though, and so we'll look at that as well. Overpower basically is a talent, and I'm not even entirely sure if I'm going to be using this very often. Whirlwind, we already looked at that. Pummel basically does the same thing as it does now. Shockwave is a talent. Skygum, that's just my ability to go to the class hall. And then Slam, we already looked at that. So let's look at our passive abilities. And Mastery, so this is what I was talking about before. Mastery basically influences your Colossus Smash, and also how much damage your Colossus Smash makes your target take, as in like increased damage. Seasoned Soldier basically makes you do 10% more damage. This is pretty much just a tuning knob for Blizzard, I'm assuming. Second Wind is a talent. Tactician, we already looked at that. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and look at the talents, and just so you guys can get an idea. And then, so I'll take you guys through some just basic rotational stuff, and then so you guys can see kind of the way the spec plays, and then we're going to look at the artifact weapon, so you can see how I think that the artifact weapon will change that gameplay. Now, first talent tier here we have Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Sweeping Strikes. These two function the same way as they do on Live, and so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that stuff. Sweeping Strikes, Mortal Strike and Execute hit a second target. This is different than it is now on Live. Now, I think this will be still the best target, or the best talent for like 2-target fights, such as, I don't know, probably like Zul'Rak or something. Like, I guess because you have to CC the ads, but basically any sort of 2-target fight, Sweeping Strikes is going to be the best to have. Probably Archimond as well. Stormbolt and Shockwave don't really do that much damage, and so it's not really that important. And you're going to be using all of your GCDs anyway with Slam to try and proc more Tacticians for more Colossus Smashes. Next talent tier is Impending Victory. Impending Victory has been changed. The reason it doesn't work the same way as it does now is that you're able to take a talent in your artifact tree to basically make Victory Rush available every 5 seconds. So we'll look at that in a minute as well. Slam has a 40% chance to restore 10% of your health. That's pretty good. That's going to obviously probably be the best solo thing to have. Bounding Strike is basically the 2 Heroic Leap glyphs that we have right now on Live in 6.2 put together. The cooldown is reduced, and it also increases your move speed. Die by the Sword is now a talent. This is going to be probably the best thing that you want to have for raiding, as well as PvP. Next to 45 talents, we've got Avatar. Avatar functions the same way as it does now on Live. Overpower basically functions the same way as it used to, except for it does not proc through dodges. I don't even really know if I'm going to be using this as much, because it does cost 10 rage. Like, it used to only cost 5, but now it costs 10, and I don't really know if it's worth it, honestly, because like rage is a lot harder to come by, because like the only way you can really get rage is through auto attacks, which is one of the other things I really don't like about the spec. So I've been using Overpower sometimes just because it kind of reminds me of the old Arms Warrior, but I will probably use Dauntless, which is basically your abilities cost 20% less rage. I will be probably using this whenever I'm doing any sort of an AoE fight, and probably Avatar if I'm doing PvP, and Overpower maybe if I'm doing a single target fight. I just don't really, I haven't done enough testing, and I'm just not really sure yet. 60 talent, Second Wind functions the same way as it does for all the other specs. 6% health for every second whenever you haven't taken damage in the last 5 seconds. Pretty obvious. Double time basically makes it to where you can charge twice. This is probably going to be the best rating talent, I think, but we'll see. Imposing Roar basically applies the Commanding Shout, the Rallying Cry glyph that we have right now on Live to Commanding Shout, which is again Rallying Cry. It makes it to where you have 20% lifesteal or leech whenever you have Commanding Shout up. 75 talents or Blade Storm. You want to use this in PvP and also probably in any sort of an AoE situation. Rend, this is pretty much a single target talent. I would probably use this in like an arena or something whenever I was fighting against a stealth class, just to make sure that I was able to keep Rend on them, and also to where I could have that ticking dot on top of, you know, my big damage I'm trying to put into them on top of that for more pressure. So both of these talents could be useful in PvP depending on the situation that you're in. Fervor of Battle, Cleave and Whirlwind generate 2 rage for each target they hit. This is also, I think, Fervor of Battle could potentially be better in like more sustained AoE situations. So maybe we're talking like something like Galakras from back in Siege of Orgrimmar, where you're always AoEing all the time. Fervor of Battle might be better than Bladestorm, but for burst phases, similar to like Iskar, where, you know, there's only going to be a very small point in time where you're actually really doing any sort of AoE damage, then you can just use Bladestorm and just pump out that big dick damage for, you know, like 10 seconds, 6 seconds, and, you know, follow it up with a couple Whirlwinds or whatever else. Bladestorm would probably be better for that. Your 90 talents here, so Heroic Strike, let's not even look at that. So anyway, the next one is Mortal Combo, or a Wombo Combo, basically, and it gives Mortal Strike 2 charges, okay? So that means that this is probably going to be the best talent for PvP. This is going to be the best talent if you... Okay, so the next one is Titanic Might. This increases the duration of Colossus Smash by 200%, but halves its effectiveness. So that means that it basically lasts for, I think, 18 seconds, and it would only increase the damage that you would deal to them by, 56%. So Titanic Might becomes less and less attractive the more artifact talents that you put into your weapon, if that makes sense. And I'll explain that to you guys in a minute here. Your 100 talents here, we have Anger Management. I don't really think this is useful at all, to be honest with you guys. It could be maybe useful in PvP or something like that, so you can get more burst phases. But other than that, I don't really think it's that great. I think it would be better if they... made this basically like your auto attacks generated more rage. I think this would, because that was actually, wow, I just saw that. That was the old anger management back in Burning Crusade. Your 40 point talent for arms. Anyway, so that I don't really think this is very useful. Also, Opportunity Strikes. Your melee abilities have 60% chance based on the target's missing health to trigger an extra attack that deals 20% physical damage. This, I'm assuming that probably the lower health they have, the more damage they deal. I don't really know how useful this is going to be because I haven't had a lot of chances to play it in PvP or really in different situations where I'm fighting monsters where their health is going down, right? But anyway, so I'm assuming that this could be useful, especially in like boss fights, but I'm not really sure. Ravager is the same way as it is now. I like using Ravager, but it's mostly just an AoE burst talent, so you'd want to use like Ravager, Bladestorm, Avatar, or something like that, and you can be doing tons of damage. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and let's just do the rotation here, and I also want to show you some of the what do you call it? Some of the animations here. So we have Charge here. Charge is the same way, and then we're going to go ahead and do a Mortal Strike so you guys can see what that looks like. And there's Mortal Strike right there, and I'll do it again since I got Wombo Combo. There it is. And also, let's go ahead and look at Overpower here. There's Overpower. It looks pretty cool, and I like Overpower a lot, the way it looks. And let's go ahead and see it again. There it is. And we'll go ahead and see Slam right now. Slam is basically, again, like your filler ability, and you're going to be slamming until you get Tactician procs. And also, so pretty much here's what I would do if I was going into a fight. I would go ahead and I would charge in. I would hit Colossus Smash, burn down both of my Mortal Strikes, and then pretty much use Overpower if it's available within Colossus Smash, and then outside of Colossus Smash, I'd be pretty much using all of my GCDs that I possibly could to get more Rage for Slam, because that's, again, a very important ability. Let me see if I can... get rid of my rage here, because it would kind of mess up. Oh, whatever, it's fine. So I'll charge in, and also I forgot to show you guys this. This is the artifact weapon ability. Stomp the ground, causing a ring of corrupted spikes to erode upwards, dealing some damage, and applying Colossus Smash debuff to all enemies within 8 yards. So I mean, like, imagine, let's just put 2 on top of 2 on top of 2 here. So you do this. Then you do Bladestorm. When you don't do that, you don't do Bladestorm first. You put down a fucking Ravager. You pop Avatar. You pop Battlecry. And you fucking Bladestorm. And by the end of it, everything is going to be dead. Like, this is ridiculous AoE damage. Like, I literally cannot wait to have a situation where I can stack all those together. Because, I mean, it's going to be the damage is going to be unreal. Okay, it's probably going to be better AOE damage than Fury, to be honest with you guys. So, okay, so you guys see what I'm saying. Anyway, so you can also use this as a single target ability to kind of keep Colossus Smash on your target whenever you don't have any procs. So again, this is kind of like it's in a lot of ways basically like Berserker Rage for Fury to keep Enrage up, if that makes sense for you guys. Colossus Smash is basically Enrage for arms. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll charge in, and we'll go ahead and do a Colossus Smash, Wombo Combo once, Wombo Combo again, and we'll do a Overpower, and now we get into the fun part. Okay, good, it proc, that's good. So we're going to wait just for a second here, we'll let our rage build up, hit that, hit this again, just as the second one comes up, hit that again, overpower, good, okay, and now we're going to be going back to slams, okay? So now we're just going back to slams, okay, now it's procced, alright, we're going to wait for a second, now both of these things are up, and then hit it once again, then those are both of the charges, so you want to make sure that you get both charges of the Mortal Strike inside the Colossus Smash. So we'll go ahead and pop Battle Cry this time and do some big dick damage. Alright, so there's both of the hints. Go ahead and hit him with an Overpower. Overpower does big damage, as you guys can see. And then, basically, it's just back to slamming, right? And I'm not really going to be using the artifact ability too much because, again, it's kind of all RNG, right? So it's pretty much making sure that you have your Mortal Strikes up for whenever you have the... See, this is like one of the times like where it's really kind of shitty, right? Because you've got to pretty much just be sitting here, and since I've got both combos up, I went and I hit the artifact ability just so I could burn down my Mortal Strike charges, and I wouldn't just have them sitting there wasting time. Now, at this point, I'm pretty much just going to be spamming Slam to make sure I can try and get a proc with Tactician. This is the kind of stuff, guys, that makes me dislike the way that they've taken the direction of the game with so much RNG-based gameplay. Because right now, it doesn't really matter the type of, like, the skill of the player right now. It really just matters the roll of the dice. And I think that whenever your success in a game is taken out of your control, I don't really find it to be as much fun. So anyway, I did finally, well, Colossus Smash actually came off cooldown. And so as you can see, like, Colossus Smash basically doubles your damage, and so whenever you don't have it up on your target, you're doing way less damage, and so these procs are super important to make sure that you get, and there's really no way to control that. So anyway, it's also really nice if you have two targets and you can just Whirlwind. Whirlwind is a little bit more expensive, but it's also more effective, because it basically kind of like hits twice. So it still is not proccing. Anyway, I think you guys can pretty much get the idea. We'll go ahead and we'll use the artifact ability here, and just hit it with two more Mortal Strikes, and there we go. And again, like, we'll just build up Rage at this point. And it's just, again, guys, it can be really kind of frustrating, and that's why I don't really like the spec as much. But hopefully the artifact weapon will make some improvements. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the artifact weapon is going to add to the gameplay. So let's go ahead and we will right-click on it. So again, like, so we obviously got the Corrupted Rage. This is the ability I just showed you guys. Very simple. And so this one right here, Cleave increases the damage of your next Whirlwind stack by an additional 2% per stack. That's 6% times 5, so that's 30%. That's pretty good, right? But it's not the first one that I would pick, I'll tell you that. Next one here is while in defensive stance, Victory Rush is available for use every 5.20 seconds. This is, I think, going to be pretty useful in certain situations, but I think this is going to be more of a PvP talent and less of a raiding talent, to be honest with you guys. But it also might help with raiding whenever you're taking a very, very large amount of damage. So next one here, increases the critical strike chance of execute by 5%. That's 15% whenever you stack this up, but again, it's just crits, and so you can't really basically plan on that. So here's like your first gold ability. Whenever you apply Colossus Smash to a target, your next Mortal Strike or Execute will have a 50% chance, higher critical strike chance, and deal 50% additional damage. So obviously this is really good because it says apply Colossus Smash, so that might work with Corrupted Rage. Obviously I don't have enough points to test that out, but we'll see. This is going to be, again, a really, really strong PvP talent for fighting people. Really, really good. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Touch is the guy, and Stromcar heals you for 10% of the damage, for the amount of damage Mortal Strike deals. This is okay, right? But I mean, this is more just like a self-healing survivability talent. Now, this one is really fucking good. While Battlecry is active, your abilities all cost 0 rage, so that means you can basically spam Whirlwind or pretty much your high, especially Execute, because Execute, obviously, I don't know how it's going to work with consuming the extra rage with Battlecry, but anyway, this is probably going to be the strongest talent. And then also we have Exploit the Weakness. Mortal Strike and Execute critical strikes increase the duration of your Colossus Smash by 1 second. So obviously this will get better with gear, and this is one of the talents that we can get that will basically allow us to keep Colossus Smash on our target for longer periods of time. So what I'm going to do with my artifact weapon, probably whenever it comes out, is I'm going to start here. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I will probably get this. I will probably have to get this, or I can move over towards this direction and get these talents as well. I'm not entirely sure, and we'll figure that out whenever things become more solidified. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of these. Heroic Leap lands, you gain 10% increased armor and parry chance. Now this is basically just a survivability talent. My parry chance is on baseline 18%. So this is going to be making it to where basically every other attack you'll parry, and it also gives you more armor. So this is more of a PvP talent. And also maybe something for like whenever you're about to take like a big physical hit. Next thing here is Precise Strikes. Colossus Smash reduces the rage cost of your next Mortal Strike or Execute by 15%. So this is really useful to have because basically, as I said before, like rage, as you guys can see, is very, very hard to come by, and because of that, like anything that's going to reduce the rage cost, because this is whenever it's maxed out, it'll be 45%. So basically, Mortal Strike will only cost about like 10 or 12 rage, and so that's going to be a lot better. Next one here is Corrupted Blood of Zakajaz. This is the second gold talent that you can get. Whenever you activate Battlecry, your sword radiates shadowed energy. Target suffer an additional 50% damage of all damage dealt. This is kind of like the shadow reflection for rogues in a way. This is just like really good to have. It just basically gives you a stronger burst phase. I think like really this is going to be good again, like what I was telling you guys about with like using Bladestorm and everything together at the same time. So this is obviously a really good talent, but there's nothing really that changes for your gameplay. Next one here that you can get, Mortal Strike, more damage. Very simple. Mortal Strike has a 20% chance to reset the cooldown on Colossus Smash. So this is another thing that basically is going to give you more Colossus Smashes, and the more Colossus Smashes, the higher uptime you have on Colossus Smash, the better. And so once you get all of these talents that like increase, well, I'll show you the rest of them. So this one, maximum rage increased by 10. I don't really think this is as useful because you don't really, you hardly ever rage cap, to be honest. And if you do, you're probably doing something wrong. But we'll see what happens. Whenever your cleave strikes more than 3 targets, strong card subversive void energy, causing 1,000. I'm sure that the damage is not entirely determined yet, and this is just more of an AoE ability. I don't really think this is very good unless like that damage is just like ridiculous. Increases all damage of slam, very simple. So whenever you have like the Mortal Strike crits, and then because like remember whenever you apply Colossus Smash, like things work together really well here. So whenever you apply Colossus Smash, your Mortal Strike has a 50% higher chance to be a crit. And then also, if you do get the crit, you can go ahead and increase the duration of Colossus Smash by 3 seconds. Okay, so these two work really well together. And then also, you've got something like this, where basically your Mortal Strike now costs less rage, and more importantly, your Mortal Strike can reset the cooldown on Colossus Smash. It basically gives you Tactician procs with Mortal Strike on top of Slam. So when all of these abilities kind of come together, it makes Titanic Might, which basically gives you Colossus Smash more often, less and less really like it minimizes the comparative gain that you would have between Titanic Might and Mortal Combo. So especially for PvP, obviously for PvP, even if you don't really have any of this stuff, I would assume that Mortal Combo would be better just right off the bat. So you can see here how all this stuff is going to come together, and the more of these abilities that you have, like once you get this one, once you get this one, like once you get up to here, if you go all the way up to here, you're going to be experiencing a lot more damage, and especially whenever you get to this one here. So these talents here are probably the strongest talents for raiding in my opinion. And obviously, like, I'm not really entirely sure, but that's just kind of the way it seems to me. Also, this ability, I guess you probably would want to get this one too. So you guys can pretty much see the way Arms Warriors are playing. Now, obviously, I have my own concerns with the class because it is still basically an RNG spec with 20% chance procs. I don't really like that as much, but assuming that you get enough chances to proc it in between the Colossus smashes, I can see things kind of smoothing themselves out. So that's pretty much the way Arms Warriors are playing right now in Legion. And I'll show you guys Cleave. I guess I didn't show that, but anyway, it's very simple. So that's pretty much what you guys are can be looking forward to. I'm fairly excited. Hopefully they can make this spec a little bit less RNG dependent and also a little bit more rewarding to play. And all that other stuff. I would really like to see maybe Mortal Strike give you rage instead of take rage away. Or something like that. I can see why they wouldn't do that though. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other questions, if you want to see like myself do an Arms Warrior dungeon or something like that, I can do that as well and just record it live and kind of go through like my thought process the whole way and all that stuff. Go ahead and let me know if you guys want to see that or not. But until then, I hope this pretty much answered all the questions that you would have for Arms Warriors, and I think we've gone over pretty much everything. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm more than anything really looking forward to seeing how the artifact weapon is going to change the gameplay. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I got for now. So, thanks for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.